Okay, I know I made a video yesterday during load shedding, but I just felt like I needed to make another one just to kind of keep a record of what's going on. So my initial plan for this channel was to share with you my healing journey while I'm here. The journey into me fixing myself and healing, basically, which I hadn't managed to do until I got here. So today I had a big kind of, it wasn't huge, but it was a big setback for me at the time, and it's left me really confused again. So what happened was I went to my follow clinic, and I'm just talking quietly because I'm aware that there are people in the studio, so I'm not sure if they can hear me, and it's kind of embarrassing. So yeah, I went to my follow clinic, and I was due to see a new psychologist who had basically taken the place of Emily, who I speak to on WhatsApp, to see if it would be easier to have someone face to face. So I agreed, and today I went for the 9 o'clock appointment this morning, and I couldn't take it. Basically, I was happy when I got there. I'd been having a few problems recently with being overwhelmed with the exams, the stress from exams, which isn't just me, by the way. A lot of teachers get stressed, and more so students get stressed at this time of year. So, but at the time, what David was doing to me was basically re-traumatizing me from Dr. Hart, which is probably the worst thing anybody can do to me, since he caused me the most damage. So it left me feeling really confused again about myself, not knowing who I am, not knowing if I can trust myself and what's happened and things, and understand myself and my background, which is completely threw me, because he gave me some homework, so I did the homework. I had to look up these positive self-descriptions, which I did because I'm good at the negative ones. I'm good at saying how much of a burden I feel and how useless I am and how I don't think I'm good enough, and I'm letting people down all the time. And I find it really hard. I found the positive descriptions, but I found it really hard to relate to them, like to apply them to myself. And I found it even quite a bit, I don't know what the word is, but like blowing your own trumpets if you say good things about yourself. And I just felt uncomfortable, really uncomfortable about these positive descriptions. There was a few I could pick, like being punctual, reliable, things that are kind of polite, things that are more, to me, are neutral rather than positive as such, and they get outweighed by everything in my mind which is negative about me. So, and they're not positive enough to shift it, because if I have in my mind that I am a lazy fat pig, who is always letting people down and a burden, and then but I'm punctual, so I might be a lazy fat pig who's a burden, but at least I can be on time from now and then. It's like it wasn't enough for me to kind of get the benefit from the exercise. So he didn't seem very happy that I hadn't done, well, I did do the homework. What I was struggling with was actually what I was struggling with, if that makes sense. So I was struggling to relate to the positive things about myself. So other people have said them about me, but I do feel uncomfortable when people have said like good things about me. And it is from my background even though he wanted to say that I was blaming my mum and I haven't blamed anybody, but I do kind of understand, because I've read enough about how it came about, and that it's not just me. There are other people who really struggle with CPTSD who to kind of find themselves and know themselves and trust themselves without second doubting all the time. But he didn't seem too impressed. And he basically told me that I couldn't find anything positive about myself because I didn't want to. I wanted to feel bad. I wanted to feel the negative, which for me doesn't make any sense, because it's so painful. No, who wants to be feeling like that terrible all the time? I don't want to feel that bad. That's why I'm seeking help. So he was trying to ask me what I was doing about the illness that I had, and I kind of said, well, this is part of it because I'm seeking therapy, which for me was a big thing because I hadn't been able to trust anybody back in Scotland anymore. So to actually go to the clinic and seek therapy for me was me kind of proactively doing something. And I couldn't really think of anything much else really, apart from being here in general, which has done me a lot of good. And being away from people who have made me feel more negative. So my mother. But I can't just switch off the past, which is what he seemed to want me to do. And he kind of left me feeling like, in the end, I looked up stuff which he told me, and it led to me being a narcissist. So things like, he said that I feel sorry for myself, and that's why I can't find anything positive, and why I have so much self-hate towards myself and want to hurt myself all the time, is because I feel self-pity and sorry for myself. But I just didn't relate to that either, because like I said the other day, I was having this problem because I felt that I just let so many people down, and I felt sorry for them because Soweto's done so much for me and the people have done so much for me, and I felt like I could never do anything right for these people. I was always letting people down, being a burden on people, not being normal enough to and I would be angry with myself and need to beat myself up, physically, giving myself the black eye, and as well as cutting. It all came from this sense of like intense self-hatred, and I don't feel sorry for myself at all. It's like completely, maybe subconsciously, if that's what he's trying to tell me, but consciously I don't feel pity for myself. I pity other people who have to put up with me, so it really stunned me. And so he kept just telling me I wanted to just carry on self-destruct, and I wanted to destroy myself, and I wanted to be negative and feel bad so that I would get attention, which of course was very triggering for me to hear the word attention seeker again. So I really I lost it after a while. I didn't know. I couldn't answer any of the questions anymore he was asking me. He was like really rushing me to find these positive things, telling me even serial killers can say things that are good about themselves. But I can't really relate to being a serial killer either. So, but yeah, I just so it put that seed of doubt in me again, that I am an attention seeker, and that I am feeling sorry for myself and expecting other people to feel sorry for me and give me sympathy, but that's not what I want either. But if that is me, and he asked me if that was the case, and I found out that it was true, because I've got so much stuff messed up like in the background. That's why I read so much, to try and find out and to relate to other people in similar situations, which makes me feel better, because it's not just me and I'm not abnormal. But when he asked me if all of these things people have accused me of were actually true, like I'm responsible for the man's death on St. Helena, and that he never really raped me, and that I'd made everything up about the abuse. My mother and I was the one who'd abused people. If I did find out all of that was true about me, then of course I'd feel really bad. I'd feel even worse about being a burden on society, and I would want to get rid of myself. Like I spent every day wanting to get rid of myself. So I told him that, and he just told me that so I wanted to destroy myself. That was the only way. But I couldn't live with myself, knowing that I'd caused someone else's death, and that I'd actually abused my mum all of this time and got it all wrong and caused her all of this pain and made her health worse. I just caused all of this massive mess with my family. If I have done that, then of course it does make me feel really, really guilty and even more hatred towards myself. I already have enough from what they tell me, so if it turns out to be true after all my research, then of course I do have that feeling like I want to get rid of myself to protect everybody else, and I don't want to be that person in society. And so perhaps he was expecting me to say that I needed to kind of make up for it. I don't know, because I'm so confused, but he told me, I'm trying to remember it all, sorry. But yeah, he told me it was all about self-pity, and that wanting to be negative, wanting to stay ill. Who wants to stay ill? Who wants to be ill in the first place? What am I doing about the PTSD, he asked me, and I really didn't have, going for therapy is what I'm trying to do. I'm able to do a lot more for myself now as well, but I couldn't really give him anything else that I'm doing about ending up with an illness. It was like he was making me feel really guilty for having it in the first place, for being diagnosed with this illness. Like it's okay to have something like diabetes, but not something wrong with the brain. So your adrenal glands are acceptable, but not your brain. And then another thing he really got to me with was, another thing that he really got to me over was when he was telling me that when I did tell him I wanted to kill myself, and he just repeated to me that it was because I have a low stress tolerance, because I was trying to explain to him how also at the moment it's exam period and I'm very stressed, and I get triggered more easily when I'm very stressed. There's only so much stress I can deal with, and I've been extremely busy with the NPO as well, so not having time for them even, so I'm overwhelmed with that. But so he told me I also have a very low stress tolerance, and what am I going to do about that? And that didn't make sense to me either, because you cannot be a teacher if you have a low tolerance to stress, so it would never work. So I was completely lost. And I'm trying to remember, sorry, my mind has kind of flipped it all off, but he basically told me that if I wanted to kill myself, it was because I was feeling sorry for myself. Basically, I felt sorry for myself and I wanted sympathy. But for me, when I hurt myself or when I feel suicidal, it's because I have so much hatred and I feel like a burden. I want to get rid of myself because I don't want to put upon other people. I don't want to be a problem for other people. And the last thing I want to do is to do it because I'm... what did he say? Sorry, I left the room in the end because I couldn't answer the questions anymore. So I just stood up. I was shaking. He asked me where I was going. I didn't know at the time. I just told him I'd be back. And I could feel my eyes were filling up with water. And before that I was going to burst into tears, so I had to get out of the room. And he was turning into Dr. Hart in front of me. So I just stood up and I just walked, and I got out of there, and then I had a huge panic attack on Tabi Singh, the kind nurse who always comes to my rescue. Bless her. I don't know what the place would do without her. And I sat with her for a while, and she gave me a big hug, which is not allowed during COVID, but so I appreciated that. She really kind of brought me back again into myself and told me that she understood, and that there was a big age difference, so she thinks it's partly because of the lack of experience and the younger age of these counsellors, because her and Pinky, the social worker, who incidentally got struck directly by lightning recently, but I'll tell you that in a different story. Thank God she's still alive. Yeah, so she told me that it's partly because of also wanting to rush to get people out in a couple of days and not have to see them longer than 1 or 2 sessions and fix everything, which they understand isn't possible. But she did understand how triggering it was for me. And then I went to Pinky afterwards and I told her, and she's tried to arrange for me to see Jason instead. So there's David and Jason. I'm waiting for Goliath. So Jason seems a bit more approachable, and Pinky explained that the therapy should be really to make you kind of relax as well and to be at ease rather than get more and more and more tense and worked up and feel worse about yourself. So I really struggled with David. I abandoned the file in the room, the appointment card, everything, and they didn't even expect me to go back and get it afterwards. So they wrote out a new one for when I need to see the doctor on the 1st of December, and I'll wait and hear from Jason. But it really did knock me off balance again, and it made me kind of question everything again. Like, am I pitying myself? Am I feeling sorry for myself? But it doesn't make sense to me because I have so much hatred inside me directed towards myself. And I don't blame anybody for my situation. I only blame myself. I don't feel sorry for myself. I feel sorry for other people. Like the other day when I was feeling like I felt sorry for everybody who I'd let down, who has given me so much support and been friends with me since I got here. I just felt terrible that Lafuna was having a baby and I wasn't there to support her and with my other friends, and I'd let everybody down because I couldn't keep up with the work, and it was just like that guilt was eating away at me for letting people down, and I just was in a complete state, beating myself up physically, giving myself the black eye, and with so much hatred towards myself and disgust towards myself that not one point did I feel sorry for myself. So yeah, it didn't make sense to me. I'm confused again now, and there's probably things that I've left out of the video because like my mind has blanked it. So I'm not blaming my mum for everything, and I never have, and I think I've made that clear from the beginning. What I'm trying to do is get myself better, which is one of the aims of going to the therapy in the first place. So there's only so much time I've got to fit things in right now because of the exams. And he, as well as upsetting me, he would have, if my student wasn't sick today, unfortunately she was sick so I didn't go and teach her, but that would have affected her as well. So it has like wide-ranging consequences. It affects my students. If he affects my mood badly, it affects my students as well. So, and other people around me, which just isn't right and isn't fair. So, but yeah, and the low tolerance to stress. Personally, I think my brain, and Emily has said this as well, my brain has actually done what it's done to protect me from a huge amount of stress. So I kind of thought the opposite about everything. If anybody's watching this though, and if you've come with your own conclusions, I'd really appreciate it if you could let me know, either privately or just on the comment section, because even if it's bad, I just want to know I want to know about myself. I want to not be so confused and to understand the situation, so I know where to go to continue from here. I know that I'm not continuing with David, and I was fine after I spoke to Pinky and Tapisang, and everything was kind of back to normal again. But since being home, it's kind of plagued me on my mind. Am I an attention seeker? I'm here making videos on YouTube that's seeking attention, so it really has kind of triggered me into, and I don't want to be the type of person that's feeling sorry for themselves. You know, when I hate myself that much, have that much self-hate towards myself, I don't want to feel sorry for myself for hating myself, if that makes sense in any way. I feel sorry for a lot of people, and I try to do everything I can, but sometimes I let them down, and then I feel like I have to take it out on myself. I'm angry towards myself then, even more, because I feel pain in letting people down. And I read about it afterwards. I looked up what he told me, and there was like, people were asking what's the difference between self-hate and self-pity, and really the self-pity was wanting, just complaining about your life all the time, that you have a worse life than anybody else, never being grateful for anything, always wanting sympathy from people, and always complaining, and whereas self-hate was the general feeling of hatred and unworthiness of yourself, and feeling like there was nothing worth anything with yourself. So as I said, I strongly have the self-hate, but I struggle to find anything positive about myself. So maybe that's a bad sign. I don't know. It's a bad sign. And the last word I read when I gave up reading was narcissist, a person who is constantly seeking attention from others and wants sympathy. It's all about them. So you're inconsiderate of other people, and you're only concerned with your own well-being, and you want to suck the life out of others. Basically, it's like they use the word vampire, which I've used in my song about my mum. It's like you're being an emotional vampire on people. They will get tired of it, coming to the rescue all the time and complaining about your life to other people. And I'm tired, and I've forgotten everything. Forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, at the end, it says that these people, in the end, the way that they are sucking the life out of others means that they are narcissistic. So that takes me back to, basically, am I the narcissist, or is it my mum? And am I weak for still struggling with all of this stuff in my life, or why haven't I moved on? Why haven't I worked harder? I thought I was working hard. I know I don't have to go to him anymore, but it's kind of really confused me and scared me again about myself. And even now, when I feel like I want to injure myself, I'm feeling, well, that's just going to show more self-pity and attention seeking, and confused. So if anybody does have anything they want to say to me, to explain it to me, whether it's bad or otherwise, please do. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much.